everyone, I'm Emma, and I play the violin.
And I'm Miho, and I play the violin, just like Emma.
I'm Ayane, and I play the viola.
I'm Karen, and I play the cello. Wow. And welcome to Aizuri Kids.
It's time for Aizuri Kids!
Where's Karen?
Karen, we're about to start rehearsal.
Whoops. Okay, I'm ready to go. What are we rehearsing today?
A really old song from the 1100s called a chant. It was written by a composer named Hildegard von Bingen.
It sounds really cool, and I think it can sound even more beautiful. Hildegard's music was originally sung in a church, so let's imagine we're in a choir, singing in a dark, candlelit room. Why don't we actually try singing together without our instruments? I think that'll help us breathe and phrase together.
Now let's play it again, imagining that we're singing through our instruments.
Yay! It's concert time!
That was so fun! Playing in a string quartet has so much in common with singing.
Sometimes string quartets play songs that were originally written for voice, like this piece by Barbara Strozzi for 5 singers.
Sometimes a composer will hide songs inside of quartet music. In this next piece, you'll hear a folk song that's broken up into little bits and passed around the 4 instruments.
Sometimes composers will write a song for a singer and then arrange it themselves for string quartet.
You know, speaking of songs, what's everyone's favorite song?
This is a song from Mozart's opera, The Magic Flute, which was the first opera that I ever saw as a kid, and I fell in love with it right away.
I like listening to a song called Planetary Candidate by violinist Michi Wianko.
I grew up listening to a lot of music by the band The Beatles, and one of my favorite Beatles songs is called Hey Jude. And I can play a little bit for you on my violin.
There's a song I love to play and sing with my nephews, Oliver and Wesley. It's called
Oh, Freight Train. That's a really special song by Elizabeth Cotten.
Elizabeth Cotten was born in North Carolina in the 1890s. Her nickname was Libba, and her first instrument was the 5-string banjo. It was actually her brother's banjo that she picked up and taught herself how to play.
I know just the right person to ask all about the banjo. Our friend, the amazing singer and banjo player, Rhiannon Giddens. Rhiannon, can you tell us all about the history of the banjo?
Hi, my name is Rhiannon Giddens, and I play the banjo. I do play other instruments, but this is my main axe, as they like to say in the music biz. And I talk a lot about the history of American music with this instrument because it really says a lot about it. So I'm just going to give you a little overview because you can't talk about Elizabeth Cotten without talking about the banjo because, well, you'll see in just a second. So during the 1600s, there were quite a few people from Africa being brought over as part of the transatlantic slave trade. They were being brought over as enslaved people to work in the Caribbean for the people who were colonizing the islands from Europe. And they started to create a brand new culture because people were coming from all over. They were being brought from all different parts of Africa. So as soon as they came to the New World, they were automatically creating this new sort of this African-American culture. Now, this was in the Caribbean first, and one of the things that came out of that Creole, that mixture, was something that eventually started being called the banjo. This is an instrument that is clearly descended from lots of different kinds of similar instruments in like West Africa, for example, but nothing looked exactly like the banjo until people arrived in the Caribbean and then started to create this. So it's truly a New World instrument. And so these descendants of Africans made this instrument, and usually they were handmade. They were made out of gourds, which is kind of like if you scoop out a watermelon and the rind that's left over, that's kind of like what these instruments were made out of, and goat skin heads and sort of, sticks and catgut strings. And then people were brought up from the Caribbean into the United States and were to work on plantations there. And so the banjo came with them. So the banjo became an emblem of Black America. This was years before, when we think about the banjo, often we think about it as sort of a mountain instrument, but it actually was all over the United States in the hands of Black musicians. There was a big history of Black string band music where these folks, that was one of the few ways you could actually make a living as an enslaved person, was with your fiddle or your banjo. You could create music and get paid. And so it was a very popular instrument. And so it just became sort of the backbone of a lot of different American musical styles.
Wow, thank you for sharing all of this history with us, Rhiannon.
In addition to playing the banjo, Elizabeth Cotten also played guitar, and she played both instruments upside down and backwards so that it would be easier to play left-handed.
She learned and wrote songs and developed a unique sound that would become known as Cotten style.
When she was only 11 years old, she wrote the song Freight Train. Rhiannon, when Elizabeth Cotten was growing up around 1900 in North Carolina, what kind of music would she have heard and loved?
When Elizabeth Cotten was growing up, she would have heard banjo and fiddle music, and she would have definitely it would have definitely informed how she plays the guitar. Hearing that growing up and just having that, when people got together and they wanted to have a party, like say they'd been working all day, sort of shucking the corn or getting a crop in, before TV, the way that you celebrated was to have a dance. So you would have people playing the fiddle and the banjo, and then people would be dancing, kind of like what we think of as a square dance, but they called it frolics back then. So she would have definitely, seen that, been around it, and I think it would have definitely affected, how she ended up playing the guitar.
That's so fascinating. Freight Train eventually became one of the most famous folk songs in America.
Let's play and sing it. We've arranged the song for string quartet and voice, and we have a surprise. We have another special guest, our friend Lembit, who's created a beautiful animation to go along with the song.
Here we go. Here's Freight Train by Elizabeth Cotten.
Freight train, run so fast. Freight train, run so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on. They won't know what route I've gone. When I'm dead and in my grave, no more good times here I crave. Place the stones at my head and feet. Tell them all that I've gone to sleep. When I die, Lord, bury me deep, way down on old Chestnut Street. Then I can hear old number 9 as she comes rolling by. Freight train, run so fast. Freight train, run so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on. They won't know what route I've gone.
Wow, what a beautiful song. And it's incredible that people didn't know what an amazing musician Elizabeth Cotten was until much later in her life when she was a grandmother.
I wonder how many hidden musicians there are walking around us every day. Aizuri Kids, do you have any hidden talents?
Rhiannon, thanks so much. Before you go, is there another song by Elizabeth Cotten that you love?
One of my favorite songs of hers is Oh Babe, It Ain't No Lie. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of it for you. It's not one that I play, but I love it so much. It's all to you, honey babe. What more shall I do? Oh, baby, it ain't no lie. Oh, baby, it ain't no lie. Oh, baby, it ain't no lie. Know this life I'm living's very high.
Wow. Thank you, Rhiannon, for visiting Aizuri Kids and for sharing so much history and beautiful music with us. Aizuri Kids, we'll see you all next time.
Been all around this whole round world, Lord, I just got back today. Work all the week long and I give it all to you, honey babe.